Charlie Munger, the man who helped build one of the greatest fortunes in history, once said, "The big money is not in the buying and the selling, but in the waiting." But here is the catch for 2026. Most people are waiting in the wrong place, and they are paying for it with their very lives. Right now, you can feel it. You look at your bank balance and it is the same as last month, but everything around you feels more expensive. The grocery store, your insurance, your peace of mind. It is an invisible pain, like a ghost reaching into your pocket every night while you sleep. You think you are being safe by keeping your money still, but that stillness is exactly what is killing your future. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you how to stop this silent bleed and turn your stagnant cash into a fortress. By the end of this video, you will not just see your bank account differently, you will see the entire world through the lens of true financial protection. Stay with me for a moment. What we are about to discover today about that savings account you think is protecting you will change the way you see banks forever. In fact, I suspect you will want to call them the second I am done talking to you. Here is the thing about still money. We were raised to believe that a big number in a savings account was the ultimate goal. Our parents told us, put it in the bank, do not touch it, and you will be fine. That was great advice in 1990. In 2026, it is a recipe for poverty. In my experience, still money is actually dying money. Imagine you have a bucket of water. You leave it out in the sun, thinking you are saving it for a dry day. But every hour, a tiny bit evaporates. You cannot see the steam rising, but the water level is dropping. By the time you are thirsty, the bucket is half empty. That is exactly what is happening to your dollars. I believe we are living through a period where the ink on your bills is literally invisible and starts to fade the moment you put them into a standard account. It looks like $100, but it only buys $60 worth of life. But to really understand how this trap snaps shut, you need to meet a guy named David. David is a friend of mine. Well, a friend of the channel. 42 years old, works in logistics, has 2 kids, and a dog that sheds way too much. David is what I call a good soldier. He does not buy flashy cars. He does not gamble on crypto coins that promise to go to the moon. He works 50 hours a week and puts exactly 15% of his paycheck into a savings account. Or at least that is what the bank called it. David felt like a king. He had $60,000 tucked away. In his mind, that was 2 years of security. He would open his app every Friday night, see that $60,000, and sleep like a baby. He thought he had built a wall around his family. But David was not counting on the invisible eraser. One afternoon, David's water heater exploded, a classic rainy day emergency. He went to the store to buy the same model he bought 5 years ago. Back then, it cost $800. This time, it was $1,500. He checked his car insurance renewal. It was up 20%. He looked at his property taxes, up 15%. He looked at his safe $60,000 and realized that while the numbers stayed the same, his wall had shrunk by an entire yard. I want to stop right here. I am looking at you through this screen because I know many of you are David. You have done everything right, and yet you feel like you are losing. I want to ask you something personal. Do you feel like the rules of the game were changed while you were sleeping and nobody bothered to send you the memo? If you feel like the system is rigged to reward the people who play with your money while punishing you for saving it, I want you to do 2 things. First, write the word awake in the comments right now. I want to see how many of us have stopped believing the lies of the traditional savings trap. Second, if you have a brother, a friend, or a coworker who still brags about their safe cash in a big-name bank, share this video with them. You might be saving more than just their money. You might be saving their time. Because David's story did not end with a water heater. It ended with a revelation that almost broke him. David sat at his kitchen table that night with a calculator. He realized that over the last 3 years, his savings had actually cost him more than if he had spent the money on luxury watches. Why? Because the things he needed to survive were climbing in price faster than the yield from his bank could ever dream of catching up. I believe that doing nothing is the most expensive hobby you can have. Every day that David kept that money still, he was paying an invisible subscription fee to the economy. He was paying for the privilege of losing. Think about it this way. It is like being on an escalator that is going down while you are trying to stand still. You think you are stationary, but you are actually getting closer and closer to the basement. To stay in the same place, you have to walk. To get ahead, you have to run. And David was just standing there, holding his breath, while the escalator pulled him into a hole. Let's break this down into lessons you can actually use. Lesson number 1, stagnation is a tax. In my experience, the system loves people who leave their money alone. Why? Because the bank takes your still money and lends it to someone else at 10 or 15% interest. They pay you 1% and they keep the rest. Super clear example. It is like you own a car, but you let your neighbor drive it as an Uber all day. He makes $200 a day using your car, and at the end of the day, he gives you $1 for wear and tear. You think you are getting a deal because at least you got $1, but your car is losing value with every mile he drives. I believe that if your money is not moving, it is not yours. It belongs to the bank. They are the ones benefiting from your safety. But wait, it gets worse when you look at the safety illusion. Lesson number 2, the safety illusion. We think safe means the number does not go down. But true safety is purchasing power protection. If you have enough money for 100 loaves of bread today, and next year you only have enough for 80, you are not safe. You are 20% closer to starving. Super clear example. It is like having a fire extinguisher in your house that you never check. On paper, you are safe from fire. But when the kitchen is actually burning, you realize the tank has been empty for years. Here's the thing. The cost of being wrong by making a small calculated move is usually much lower than the cost of being right by doing nothing. David thought he was right. He followed the rules. But the rules were written by the people who own the bank, not by the people who work for a living. So, how do we stop being David? How do we build a real fortress? Lesson number 3, the velocity of capital. Money is like blood. If it stops moving, the body dies. To avoid losing money, you have to give it a job. I am not talking about gambling on the next meme coin. I am talking about moving your capital into assets that have value retention. I believe that in 2026, you have to be your own central bank. You have to look at your still money and realize it is a liability, not an asset. Every dollar should be an employee working 24/7 to protect you from the invisible eraser. Think of your money like a team of soldiers. If they are sitting in the barracks, meaning the bank, sleeping, they are not protecting the border. You need them out there, on the front lines, digging trenches and holding the ground. But before you go running off to move things, we need to talk about the most dangerous part of this entire journey. Lesson number 4, the emotional anchor. The reason David did not move his money was not because he was dumb. It was because he was afraid. He had an emotional attachment to that $60,000 figure. Seeing it drop by even $100 would have caused him physical pain. But here is the hard truth. You are already losing $100 every single week. You just are not seeing it on the screen. The bank is doing you a favor by not showing you the adjusted value of your money. They show you the face value because it keeps you calm. It keeps you compliant. In my experience, the moment you stop being afraid of a number that fluctuates and start being afraid of one that stands still, you have already won the game. David finally realized that his safety was just a blanket that was too short to cover his feet. He had to stop being a good soldier and start being a general. David did not change everything overnight. He did not become a venture capitalist. He simply stopped believing the lie of still money. He started looking for places where his money could breathe. Assets that actually exist in the physical world. Things that people will always need, regardless of what the ink on a dollar bill says. He moved from a savings mindset to a protection mindset. And for the first time in years, David actually felt safe. Not because his app told him so, but because he understood the mechanics of the drain. He stopped the leak, and that is exactly what I want for you. Today you saw the invisible eraser that David faced. You saw why keeping your money still is the most expensive thing you can do. You have been warned. The question is, are you going to stay in the barracks, or are you going to lead your troops? Subscribing to Capital Strategist is not just clicking a button. It is joining a group of people who refuse to be victims of a silent drain. It is about building a fortress around your family that actually holds up when the fire starts. Because sometimes, the biggest problem is not what you are doing wrong. It is what you think you are doing right. Stay safe. I will see you in the next video as we continue to shield your future from the cracks that no one else is telling you about.